Hey everyone, Farmington Mayor Nate Duckett. Thank you for joining us. On today's episode of the Mayor's Table, we have some veterans of the show with us today, maybe in some different forms for one of our guests, but with us is our Riverfest chairperson, Miss Deanne Waters. Thank you for joining us today, Deanne.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, great to have you back. And to my rights would be Dr. Joe Pope. I have to call you doctor. I'm sorry, it is what it is, but thank you for being here today.
I'm glad to be with you.
Yeah,
we're old friends.
Today we're going to be talking about the River Reach Foundation, which you are both a part of, and Joe, you are now the newest member, I understand, of the group, so that's great news.
I'm happy to be on this board, and I was motivated to get on this board by just my almost daily activities down at Berg Park or at between the waters.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm basically at that park every day, and I've been to several Riverfest activities, and yet I didn't know there was so much stuff going on. I knew mostly about the music, and I attended, various music venues, and I have lots of music friends. So
Sure.
And you know who you are.
Well, Deanne, you've been on the board and a part of River Reach for how long now?
Oh, I think about 2017, I think.
Okay.
Right,
So we're going
or
on
maybe 7 years.
7
Well,
years?
yeah, mhm.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we have lots of great events that take place on the river corridor, but we're going to get into some of those events that River Reach kind of coordinates. But I think it'd be good for our viewers to get an understanding of who River Reach is and kind of why they formed and the kind of activities that they do and what their mission is. Some people may know that, but I think for a lot of new folks who haven't had the experience of these events, it'd be good to share with them that.
Well, back in 1984, a group of people got together with the city, and they did a study to find out what we could do with the river, and said that we're missing out on what a great opportunity for recreation here. And the river was full of pieces of concrete, old cars, refrigerators, and the group of people, and I think at that time there was about 400 community members. It was a large group.
That's
got
good.
together and they did a study, and then we formed the River Reach Foundation in 1987. And that same year we held our first Riverfest.
I love to hear those kind of community, they come together moments, because the river is so important. And for so long, and it still, parts of it, was zoned industrial. There wasn't really a good plan based on, the public's use of it. And so all these things that we've been doing on it over these past 40 years has really been retrofitting some of this opportunity to get people on the river, enjoy the river, and be great stewards of the river.
Right. I know part of the study that the city did, they broke it up into different segments on the preservation and then the stewardship on each segment of the river. And that's kind of how we've kind of moved along. And the foundation itself was set up to be able to accept donations and land acquisition for the city, and the city maintains the river trails, but the foundation works every year to maintain them, help maintain them. We do trail cleanup, and last year we removed, I think like 20 tires out of the river. Someone was just dumping tires in the river, big tires, and one of them was from those trucks from the mine. It took a backhoe to get it out, but take out chunks of concrete. And our community has been really good in donating their time. They didn't, the construction companies didn't charge us anything to come out and remove that stuff. And of course the Desert River Guides went in and they pulled out over 20 tires. So that's just stuff that the foundation does.
If I may interrupt here, one of the things I'm most impressed with when I read the history that Bob shared with me is that the land acquisitions, the amount of land that was bought or just given to the city, or to I guess that was deeded to the city.
Yes,
but it
most
created
of it
this
was.
incredible park.
Some of it, but now all of it is.
Yeah, now
all of it is.
just
And there's so
finalized
much
some of that last
contiguous
year.
land around the river that is part of this incredible park.
Yeah.
Well, I know that very first year, or the first 2 or 3 years, over 36 acres were donated by 3 different individuals.
And like Berg Park was named after the family that had donated
some
kind of
land,
that big
the
part
bird
of land. Yep.
And then you take the little pavilion. I know people hear the little pavilion and they think that we call it the little pavilion because it's small. But that's not why it's named that. That was donated by Little Oil and Gas, by Mr. and Mrs. Little.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to give some recognition to those folks. I mean, their legacy carries on, and I know that's kind of what we've been working on over these past years through River Reach and through the city, is now we've got 8.5 consecutive miles of river
trails.
And
how many miles?
8.5 miles.
Okay, sure.
And that goes from Among the Waters, just off of Bistai Highway, all the way to Animas Park.
Right.
And then we're currently, one of our top plans is the North Trail Extension, which would go from Browning all the way up to
Aztec.
Yep. Well, someday to Aztec, yes.
Yeah, someday.
Yeah.
And someday, hopefully, down to Shiprock. I mean, that's
to Shiprock and all the way up to Durango. I mean, there's this idea, and it's a great vision of us connecting all of those communities together along that single corridor.
But even in its present iteration, I bring family members who visit me or friends who come to town, and we go down there, and without an exception, they say, "This is your park. This is amazing. This is a beautiful place to be," and it's well kept, and you can walk it, and you can take your pets, and you can watch birds there, and it's a powerful resource for our community.
It is. I know we've had people say, "Well, can't we put businesses down there and be kind of like San Antonio?" But Bob Leamer, who is basically the main founder of the foundation, and the board has always said, we want to keep it full of nature.
Sure.
We don't want to have all that commercialism. Some areas, maybe there'll be some commercialism. I think down around the hospital area, I think they're working on doing something down that way. I'm not real sure, but for the most part, we want the trails to remain pristine and be able to enjoy the birds and the deer. And
well, the Riverside Nature Center has been a big draw, and
yes, it is.
This year I know that River Reach has helped contract with some wood sculptors, sculptors, and so we've got some new art along the path, and they're working on one right now.
Yes, it's going to be an eagle and an owl.
All right.
Yes.
Is that our third one?
The second one. The second one. And our artist, Harry Benali, says he's going to try to have it done by Riverfest.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
So he's just finishing up on the eagle right now.
I walk by that every day.
Yeah.
I walk with my dog every day there, and I'm always there too early to see. Is it Harry?
Harry Benali, yes.
But I see what he's done each day, and it's pretty impressive. I keep thinking, how does he see a block of wood and see this creature in here and bring it out? We've seen the other thing he's done with the deer, and similarly, I watched him chisel that out, and it was pretty impressive.
He's an excellent woodsmaker. He really is. He does some beautiful sculptures. He'll be at Riverfest.
Well, it's great to have those contributions. So we will have a commercial component there along the river corridor, and that's going to be at the Farmington Museum. So we're going to put out letters of interest to restaurants across the state, breweries, things that we believe would go well there on the riverside, because that will also be where we're going to build our wave feature there in the river. So we'll have an adjustable wave feature. So the vision there is to be similar to what they have in Colorado and Idaho, and be a place where you can actually put a surfboard in there. Obviously raise it for rafting and for different things. I mean, we want to see that park really be that kind of that beacon and draw people directly to the Animas River, because it's the closest spot on Main Street for it.
Right, and it's a beautiful way look out there. The way it slopes down I think it's absolutely
and
fabulous.
That bend in the river is pretty amazing.
Right.
It is.
We have a lot of great events there on the back terrace of the museum, and I encourage people, if they've never been back there, to go and check it out. It's very beautiful, and we have weddings back there, but we also have the concert series that runs throughout the summer, and I believe that you have an event that's going to be taking place there.
We're going to have the Animas River Jam this year at the museum on September 29th, and it'll be at the same time as the balloon rally.
Oh, perfect.
So I think it's going to work out real well. Ballooning will be done by noon, pretty much. I think that closes up around 10 o'clock in the morning, I think. And then the Animas River Jam will start at noon, and we're going to have a fishing derby there at the same time for the children.
How cool.
Yeah, and we picked
Just
that.
the children?
Well, adults can go, and if it's too steep there for the children, we'll move the fishing derby over to the Veterans Memorial Park and the Cottonwood Landing, because that's nice and smooth out there.
Sure.
So we'll be watching the water level, and 'cause it has to be safe.
Right, of course.
And if we do move it, then Desert River Guides has said that they will bus the people back and forth.
Well, it's great to have those partnerships too
Mm-hmm.
with businesses, and Desert River Guides have done such a great job
Mm-hmm.
of promoting that area. I mean,
Right.
it still blows me away that it took us until nearly 2020 to have a rafting company out there. So I think there's still a lot of opportunity for folks who want to get involved in that.
What year were the work that did the rapids, that made the rapids there? That really, I think, improved
That
a lot of
was-
things. And it makes the river just more desirable.
We've
at
done
that
some
area.
rework on
Did
it,
it- yeah,
most
was-
recently in the 2015-16, I think.
Or what, it might have been 16 or 17, somewhere right around in there that we did it.
Yep,
And it needs, I think, some more work on it
Sure.
a little bit right now, but
yeah.
yeah.
Well, we just keep chipping away
Yep.
those components. I know there's folks who want to see zip lines go across there at some form or fashion. and
Yeah.
then we got component. No, we don't want that. Kind of what you
No,
talked about.
yeah.
We like the peace and quiet. We want to keep that natural.
Well, it would affect the wildlife there too.
Sure.
That's our main thing that we kind of protested against it.
There is
there
a lot of
because
wildlife
There's
there.
a lot of
There is
wildlife,
so
and,
much wildlife.
and it's wonderful for people to be able to come out and just see the deer so up close and everything, and not interact with them. They try to, but it's not a good thing for them to do.
Right.
We discourage that part of it. but-
Sure.
I don't see much of that, though.
Well,
You
I
know,
think we've been pretty careful about
mostly people are respectful of the
being
wildlife.
respectful for it.
I think it's
and
keeping
not-
your dog on a leash is the main thing.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. When I see a skunk out there, I just have a tendency to stay away.
Yeah.
And you want your
And they're
dog
out there.
really on the leash.
I want your dog to stay away.
Yeah, they're out there.
Well, and I'll encourage folks as well. I mean, at the Animas River Park is right next to where our animal shelter is. And my kids and I, when they were little, we would go over to the shelter and we'd walk dogs. And it's just a great place to go and explore and take your family out and walk a dog at the animal shelter. The other one of my new favorite parks, of course, is Among the Waters. And that's where the confluence is, which you don't get to see that in very many places, but to see
Very
the San
seldom.
Juan and the Animas come together. And, just sit there and see how different the color of the water is coming from each of those rivers.
Even before Gold King mine.
Yeah, even before Gold King Mine, yes. And then across the river there, along Among the Waters, one of the doctors, I think, has land.
Neidhart.
Neidhart has land, and he's got some great sculptures on his property as well.
I'd like to cross over and see that side.
It's he's got quite an endeavor there. It's
Yeah.
going to be wonderful when it's done. Yeah,
Is he sharing it open to the
Oh, yeah.
public or?
Well, no, I don't know that it's open to the public, but he's very open to people taking him out there and showing them what they're doing and how they're doing it, and he's got quite a
Yeah.
deal
Well, I
there.
used my binoculars to explore it a bit from the other side.
Well, former Mayor Tom Taylor, I know that's one of his favorite spots as well. So,
Yeah.
well, wonderful. Let's kind of get into the events, and we get a lot of questions. A lot of different organizations asked to be on the mayor's table, which understandable. We have a great show. We have great viewers. We kind of limit that to organizations that are kind of partnered with the city in their events. Because it is a city program, and River Reach has been one of those for a very long time. That's kind of been partnered in and have accomplished a lot of really good things. So I want to get into these events,
Okay.
and I think they're signature, community events. They draw people from all across the Four Corners, all across the state of New Mexico, and Riverfest is the biggest of those.
Yes.
What's going on at Riverfest this year? When is it? What can we expect?
Okay. This year it's going to be wonderful, I think. It's over Memorial Day weekend, the 24th, 25th, 26th of May, and we're going to have 17 bands.
Oh, wow.
We start on Friday night at 5 o'clock with the opening band of the Zia Chicks, and then we have Julie and the Boys. I think it's Julie and the Boys playing. We have food vendors there and arts and crafts. There will be some arts and crafts there, but mostly they come in on Saturday. But for the homemade arts and crafts, I know there's over 65 of those, and
Oh,
probably about
goodness.
70 additional ones that will be scattered throughout the park, from Berg East and at the Animas Park to Berg, all the way to Berg West, clear up to Scott Avenue. So there'll be stuff all along that corridor there. And then we will have, on Saturday, we open up at 10 in the morning, And the first event that comes up there is one of the most popular ones that we have, the Wiener Dog Race.
Yeah, I was asking about that earlier because I've come into.
And I've never
ownership of
seen the
Wiener.
Wiener Dog race. Would you mind describing?
Well, you know, I can't really describe it because every year that I've been involved in Riverfest, I've had to be in a different
Somewhere
area,
else.
so I've never seen it either.
Okay.
But- so I'm hoping this year, now that I'm not running the duck race and all that other stuff, that I can actually be able to watch the Wiener Dog race. And this year, the Noonday Civitan Club is taking over the running the
Great.
the Wiener Dog race. So that's a nice community involvement.
Right. Well, you're
So
able to
we're-
incorporate another, nonprofit.
Another
and
nonprofit.
Great volunteer groups. Civitan's just great things.
Right. And then the duck race, which is held on Sunday, is going to be run strictly by Kiwanis, Rio del Sol Kiwanis this year.
All right.
So that's, I'm really happy about that because that took up a lot of my time.
But
Really
what I've
bad.
noticed is that there's a lot of crossover in the membership of the River Reach Foundation and the Kiwanis.
There is.
Oh,
So
yes.
you folks are all double dipping and
Yes, we are.
working extra hard.
Yes, we are.
Well, that's really is going to bring, at the end of the show, I had planned to address that because of how important the need for board members and volunteers are for all of these organizations who are certainly all the nonprofits in general who have great missions in this community, but also those who are putting these types of events together that are just so important to who we are. We need people.
Right.
It's great if you can donate money. We certainly need the money. These things aren't free to put on, but your time and your energy and your ideas and
Right.
and your labor
And
are
labor.
very important.
The city of Farmington, we couldn't do this, we couldn't have Riverfest without the Parks and Recreation Department. They go over and above in making sure that all the trails are clean, everything is done. But in addition to them, it takes over 140 volunteers
Yes.
to put on Riverfest. So and it's all community
And
members.
with all the money raised by Riverfest, we use that money for, I've seen collaborations with the city to keep the pavement even, to
Right.
keep signs current, to keep, please
Yeah.
take it from there because I'm the new guy.
Well, this year we are going to help, there's areas on the pavers that are kind of coming up from where the tree roots are. So that area needs to be kind of redone a little bit. And so the monies that we raise are going to go towards helping pay for that. And there's some portions of the retaining, well, they're not actually retaining walls, but walls along the river that people can sit on that need a little bit of work. So we're going to work on that too. We've got a lot of, and getting the concrete people stuff out of the river. They
Sure.
still keep dumping. And educating.
Just
The
mind-blowing.
signage, we are doing more signage. Right now we've got signs in production for the takeouts and the put-ins, and that we're real excited about. The city has helped us with that, but it will show where the warnings are and where you are not allowed to get into private property and all of that. So it'll be a good educational deal
That's
for
great.
the public, for the rafting. So that's
It's good for
going
people to know that, we get a lot of requests, the city does, to help fund certain things and do certain stuff. All that comes out of public money. I think it's good for folks to know that how much the River Reach Foundation in and of itself is funding something that is used community-wide and can be emulated. I use you guys as an example of those nonprofits that are really doing really good work for the entire community.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why we have our theme this year, Heroes Unite, celebrating our community, because the community has been wonderful. We've had great luck with our sponsorship companies. Joe, you've been running out and doing all these sponsorships.
Yeah.
And so, the community is really behind everything that we do, and it's a wonderful thing, I think.
As my new role, and again, I'm the guy who's just learning, and Dr. Bob Leamer is my mentor, if you will. We've been going around to businesses, and I walk into a business that he hasn't even called ahead. He just shows up at a business, and he walks in, and it's, oh, Dr. Leamer, is it time? Is it that time of the year? Oh, yes, it is. And how much do you need? I mean, and come into the office, sit down, let's talk a minute. And I can't believe the camaraderie that he has and that he has with these people in the community. And they're just really glad to see him and glad they have the opportunity to contribute to this. So that's what I hope I can do, is to walk into a place and say, I really want your money, and them to be glad about it.
Be happy to give it to you. Yeah.
Well, it's easy.
But his legacy, I think, is already set. He's been doing this for so long. I mentioned before we started this meeting that many years ago we managed to attract the New Mexico State Medical Society to come to Farmington for a meeting, and it was partly on the strength of the reputation of Dr. Lemur, and indeed at the end of this event he was honored for all the work he'd done in the River Reach Foundation. So,
no, I definitely think his efforts and everything that he's put into this really kind of sets the tone and the spirit of Riverfest and River Glow.
River Glow, and yes.
And talk a little bit about that. So Riverfest is going to be Memorial Day weekend, May 24th through the 26th.
Right.
River Jam is September 28th.
29th, I believe, is it
29th?
that Saturday? 28th
Not
or
sure.
29th, I think.
But that's at the museum.
It's at the museum, yes.
And then River Glow is the first Friday in December,
yes.
which is December 6th,
Yes.
according to my notes here.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about River Glow as well.
Okay, River Glow is, again, a free, family-friendly event, and we lined the upper part of the trails with luminarias and have music, live music, but the music is youth groups from the different schools.
Yeah.
And they play in 2 or 3 different places. They sing and holiday songs.
Sure.
And then we also sell hot chocolate and popcorn. Santa is there. Of course, we have Santa Claus and a live nativity. And it's just a real peaceful event that people wander through amongst the luminarias, and they go and they listen to the children sing, the different school groups. And that starts off the holiday season pretty much, because right after that, the next day is the San Juan College luminarias.
Yes.
And I think it coincides with Festival of Trees. I believe is about the same area.
There's a 2-week period there right after Thanksgiving that
Yes.
we just really spend. We have such good turnouts for our Christmas events that kick off, the parade,
sets the
Festival of
mood for the
Trees.
community,
Sets the
really
mood,
does.
yes.
In the past, did they not also have hot air balloons as part of the glow? Or, I mean, I had
Not
been
with-
one year when they had 1 or 2 hot air balloons.
I don't remember it being with with River Glow. I
Okay.
know we had hot air balloons way back on Memorial Day.
With Riverfest.
This Riverfest, yeah.
Yeah, this year the River Jam will be right during our
During the
big balloon rally.
balloon rally, yes.
Yeah, which is great to have back.
And one thing too on Riverfest, going back a little bit to Riverfest, one thing that is also real important that we do is that's the One Nation gourd dance on Sunday, honoring our veterans.
Where does that one take place at?
That takes place at the Memorial Veterans Garden, right
Which
there.
is just a beautiful,
It's a
another
beautiful spot.
location.
Yep. And on Saturday, we also have the Joe Tahoney Jr. White Mountain Apache dancers, which is a big draw to the people.
I love celebrating that cultural component that is really unique to our area. It's so important for us to make sure we highlight it
Right.
and bring them in. What is the Recycle Fashion Show? I know that's happening on Sunday.
That's
at
happening on
Riverfest.
Sunday. Well, that is, we're asking people to make clothing out of recyclable materials. And they have a little fashion show, and we have prizes for them. So that is sponsored by Waste Management, which is a good fit.
Perfect.
Sure.
Perfect fit with that. And we're looking forward to that event. That starts at 10 o'clock, I believe, on Sunday.
And Roverfest.
Roverfest is up in the air a little bit this year.
Okay.
What Roverfest is on Saturday, they just, down by the Red Barn area, people dress up their little dogs and they take them walking around and have little games or some treats hidden for them. And money that was raised from that goes towards the animal shelter.
Okay.
But the people that have done it in the past have other obligations this year. So we are looking for someone to take it over, to take over Riverfest so we can continue it.
Okay.
It's a real popular thing. People like to walk their little dogs
Yeah.
and big dogs.
Wonderful. Any other things you want to add on any future plans or things that you have coming up
Well,
here?
we have one new event this year at Riverfest, and that is going to be a mechanical bull. I think that's
nice.
going to be fun. And it'll be down on the Rocky Reach Plaza, which is in the center of the park. And there will be an age limitation on that.
Okay.
No one under 12 and no one over 50.
Oh, am I over 50?
Well, I don't know about you, but I would not want to get on one of those mechanical bulls and fall off, even though it's going to be a nice big pad underneath.
Sure.
My age, I don't want the hip. I don't want to face a hip
No, thank you.
problem or anything like that.
No, I got nothing to
And
prove.
If
Got
there
nothing
are
to prove.
if there are children under 12, they will have to sign. The parents will have to sign a release
Okay.
for them.
That'll be a lot of fun.
And I think it will be fun. It's something new.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
We should ask that they never turn it all the way up.
He says he looks at the people that's on it and goes from there.
Bases it on their abilities.
Faces it on their abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, one thing I do want to make sure we end with, and that is how can people get involved? How can people, if they wanted to join River Reach, if they want to donate, there is the paver program, which you can buy a paver that's placed out at Berg Park and have your name or your company or your kid's name, or you could dedicate it to
your
a family member or
or
somebody.
a pet or whatever.
Or a pet, yeah.
Yep.
And my question would be, what is the price of those things,
Yeah.
and how do you
Okay. The
how do you go
pavers-
about making your donation?
You can make the donation online. You can go to our website, which is riverreachfoundation.com. And there is the ability to purchase a paver. You can also become a member, do your membership, which is, our membership is very affordable, $25 a year
Oh, wow.
for an individual, $35 for the family, for a whole family. And then we also have a corporate, which is $100 a year. But $25 is something that I
There's
think most
even
people
a
can afford.
5-year
Sure.
plan?
There is a 5-year plan, and all of those are on the website
Right.
that you can do that. And as far as volunteering, you can go to riverfestnewmexico.com or riverreachfoundation.com, either one. There is a button there that says volunteer, and there's a spot there. It brings you up a spreadsheet, so to speak, that you can pick where you want to volunteer, what time, and what you wanted, to do there. So it's everything is right online.
That's great.
Deanne, would you also describe the difference between a sponsor and a donor, and what benefits might come with those?
Okay. A donor is what we say, it's a donation, that we give them a nice thank you, and we're very happy to have them donate. But a sponsor, they get advertising.
Sure.
We advertise online for them. We do, if they're sponsoring a specific event, like the duck race. If you wanted to sponsor your money for the duck race, you will have your name there at the duck race, there showing that you have sponsored it. And we do have an overall event sponsor, which is a $5,000 sponsorship, and we have 4 of those right now. And that is they are sponsoring the Riverfest event as in general. And we have they get free VIP parking, they get prime parking spots, and some other gifts that we give them.
Banners,
well.
banners perhaps?
Yeah, we have a banner. We've been using more the foam board because sometimes on some of the events it's hard to place a banner.
Right.
And on the foam board we can make them as big as we want and place them where they're very visible, where sometimes the banners are not quite as visible. They get lost in the event, so to
Sure.
speak. Like if you're sponsoring, say, one of the music stages, that music stage is so big that if you have a banner there, it's not going to show up near as much as if you have a huge big foam board poster
Gotcha.
that has their logo on it and their thank you and all of that. And they will get, our sponsors will all get a free rafting trip
Okay.
that goes through June.
That's great.
And the $3,000 and up sponsorships, in addition to rafting trips, they will also get a free 4-wheel drive trip by Bear Automotive. So we've
A lot
got
of benefits built in there, behind the scenes stuff you
Yep.
don't know about. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's great information. One of the things I know we didn't talk about, which one of my favorite parts of Riverfest, is the food and the beverage. And so I always look forward to the vendors that are
Yep.
out there, and a wide variety of
we
food.
do. I think we have like 28 food vendors right now, and we're still taking applications.
I was kind of amazed as we walked the venue itself and we're trying to say, is there room for this and there's room for that? Because it is really very competitive
It
to get a
is.
spot there anymore.
It is.
And it's all measured out.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the volunteers that have put together the event are down there measuring out each 10 by 10 space, making sure that there's 3 feet between them for safety, and making sure that there's enough room for a police car to get through, or an ambulance in case there's an accident or something. So it takes a lot of pre-planning. But we have a beer and wine garden at both ends, one up on River Reach Terrace, which is the area up there Scott Boulevard and San Juan Boulevard, and then the other one is down in Rocky Reach Plaza, which is in the center of the deal. And we have some food vendors and at Boyd Park, because that's where one of the car shows will be this year.
Okay.
Will be at Boyd Park on Saturday, and then on Sunday there's the second car show will be on Cottonwood Landing, and there'll be food vendors there too. So we have food vendors throughout the park.
It is all ages. It's for all people,
Uh-huh.
all interests.
Yep.
It's just nice to be out there. And my own experience going to Riverfest is that I get to see all these people.
Yeah,
And-
30,000
and I-
of them.
That's right.
And I know a few of them.
You know him for a long time, actually. Yeah, well, that's fantastic. So yes, this is an organization that has such a great legacy, and I just encourage companies and people, if you're looking for somewhere that you can connect yourself to something that really matters and it improves the quality of life here in our area. River Reach is a great organization. Get involved with it. If you're already involved with other groups, that's fantastic as well. But a $25 a year sponsorship, or donation, not a lot to ask. Benefits involved in all of that. But it sets a good precedent, I think, for folks and for their kids. And we got to be good stewards of that area. It's the most important area we have.
I want to commend the city too. Remember the event where I met you a few months ago? It was a city event to promote volunteerism, and it had various organizations. I don't know if River Reach was represented there, but there were
We were not.
various people that were looking for volunteers, and each gave a presentation and signed up people, I suppose.
Right. Yeah. Of things
There's
to do.
never a shortage of things to do.
Well, wonderful. Well, Deanne and Joe, thanks for joining us. Anything else you want to add?
There's so much to add,
There's
but
so
I don't
much
think
to
I
add.
can do
There
it.
is, it
Yeah.
is.
Well, it's going to be a beautiful weekend here for Riverfest, Memorial Day weekend, May 24th through the 26th. Put it on your calendar. Put it on your calendar every single year. It is one of those signature events that we can't thank River Reach Foundation enough for organizing and coordinating, and all the employees of the city of Farmington who are involved. It's a big endeavor, and I know for folks who may be driving by Berg Park there in San Juan and Scott, be patient.
Be patient,
Let's pay
yes.
attention to those who are out there, the pedestrians who are out there. Lots of kids, lots of dogs, and lots of fun. So we hope to see you and your families out at Riverfest Memorial Day weekend. Until then, take care.